The flagpole.
What's the matter, Jiangdong?
Nothing. Well, the flagpole just broke in the wind. It doesn't seem like a good omen.
Father! Father!
Ride! Sir! Jian! You must remember, the future of our family is now in your hands!
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Night Owl channel. Welcome back to the series where we're counting down the top Dynasty Warriors characters as of the latest game. Coming in at number 46, we have the leader of the Sun family, the Tiger of Jiangdong himself, Sun Jian. Sun Jian is argued to have been a descendant of the legendary Sun Tzu and is posthumously honored as the first emperor of Wu. Known for his unmistakable fortitude and courageousness, he was a reputed warrior who gained early fame for subjugating pirates and bandits during his youth. He fought in many battles until his life was cut violently short by Huang Zu's subordinates. Before we jump into how Sun Jian has changed over the past 20 years, take a look at the popularity polls to see why Sun Jian is at number 46. In the first popularity poll, Sun Jian received 777 votes out of a total of 75,000, putting him at the 41st spot. In the second popularity poll, Sun Jian drops down to the 67th spot, and then in my personal ranking, Sun Jian jumps up to the 31st spot. So for me, Sun Jian is the highest among the three lists, and that's because I genuinely liked Sun Jian when I originally made the list. I didn't have anything against him. I liked his look, I liked his character build and personality, didn't have too much against him. And then replaying through all of his stories, it definitely solidified his position for me and increased my likability towards him as a character. I really enjoyed his personality and just the way he interacts with his family and his kingdom, and how he treats his subordinates and his other officers really does a number for me in terms of liking him. Now, before we jump into how Sun Jian has changed within the Dynasty Warriors series, let's talk about who he is for people who don't know. Sun Jian was the patriarchal leader of the Sun family and father to that of Sun Ce, Sun Quan, and Sun Shangzheng. Sun Jian was a warlord who lived during the late Eastern Han Dynasty of China. He was already known by the time the Yellow Turban Rebellion had already started. Because of the multiple subjugations to pirates and bandits throughout his youth, by the time he got to the Yellow Turban Rebellion and everybody was being called to put down the rebellion, people already knew who Sun Jian was and his ability when it came to battle. After the Allied forces put down the Yellow Turban Rebellion, there was another call to arms, this time against Dong Zhuo. So Sun Jian also raised an army and joined Yuan Shu, who was one of the leaders of the coalition, and joined him at the Battle of Hulao Gate in order to put down Dong Zhuo. It was said that Dong Zhuo actually feared Sun Jian's personal bravery and resourcefulness, and he actually said he was one of the most influential men at that time. Upon entering the ruins of Luoyang after Dong Zhuo had fled and burned the city, Sun Jian ordered his men to reseal the tombs of Han emperors that were excavated by Dong Zhuo. It is said that Sun Jian found one of the emperor's jade seals in a well.
This is... a seal.
Later, when Yuan Shu declared himself emperor, he held Sun Jian's wife, Lady Wu, hostage in exchange for the seal. And then, unfortunately, about a year later, Yuan Shu sent Sun Jian to attack Liu Biao, the governor of Jing province, and unfortunately was caught traveling alone, where Huang Zu's troop ambushed him and shot him to death with arrows. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to how Sun Jian has changed over the past 20 years among the Dynasty Warriors series. Alright, so starting off with Sun Jian's appearance, his appearance relatively stays the same between two different looks. In the first few games, he has an armored look. He's got, armor from head to toe. He's got his helmet on, and he relatively looks the same throughout the first few games. Then the switch from Dynasty Warriors 5 to Dynasty Warriors 6, he maintains the armor look, but he loses the helmet, and he maintains his look from the 6th game all the way up to the 8th game. And then in Dynasty Warriors 9, it looks like they revert back to his original look in the earlier games with a more heavy armor approach. His helmet returns, and he's got that look from the older games. Can't complain too much about his appearance. I actually liked his appearance, and that's why he was kind of high up for me, especially in the earlier games when he had that general, commander type look, the helmet on. He had that sophisticated, courageous, brave look that Sun Jian was known for, and it was shown throughout the way he looked and the way he presented himself within the games. Moving on to his weapon style, basically Sun Jian has the same weapon throughout his entire playability, and that is just a sword. It changes from what type of sword it actually is, but it's basically a sword, and I genuinely like the sword. It wasn't anything too crazy. As the games went on, as the games progressed, it got easier and easier and more fun to actually use his weapon style. And in the first few games it was kind of difficult, but in like Dynasty Warriors 5, he finally had an AoE attack that made it a lot easier to use the weapon, and then Dynasty Warriors 6 and on, the weapon itself was pretty easy to use. Dynasty Warriors 8 was extremely fun to use his weapon. I had a lot of fun with his 9 rings blade, but I can't complain too much about his weapon style. He's maintained pretty much the same style since the first game he was playable, and it just fits him well as a character. His Musou attacks in each of the games were pretty standard. Can't complain too much about it. Very basic Musou attacks, nothing too crazy. Played well into his character. Very simple when it came to his attacks. Very simple when it came to his Musou attacks. I even believe that the Musou attacks, just like some of the other characters, was recycled, and he used the same ones from some of the earlier games. However, his Musou attacks in the earlier games, although they were basic, it was really effective because every swing, unlike some of the other characters in the game, actually hit every single time and didn't cause the enemy or the commander or whoever you were attacking to go flying, to where you would only get like 1 or 2 good shots and then you would miss the rest of them. Every single swing, it kept them in the vicinity and they kept hitting him. It was a great Musou attack to keep them from moving and doing enough damage in one Musou attack to actually kill enemy commanders or whoever you were going against in the stage. But can't complain too much about his weapon styles. Sun Jian was fairly decent to play as for somebody with a sword. I can't complain too much about it. I thought it was just fine for him, and it fits him just fine. All right, now moving on to his voice acting. Sun Jian's voice acting, for me personally, is actually pretty good in terms of the longevity of the character. I can't really complain at all about Sun Jian's voice acting. I think every voice that he's gotten fits him pretty well, from the earliest games all the way up until the voice acting that he has now. Of course, the newest one he has is very distinctly different versus all the other ones.
We have prepared an escape route for you. You can use it to get out of here.
But it still fits him really well. It still fits him as the calm and considerate one when he's talking to his officers or planning the next battle or whatever it is. But it still fits him when he's in battle and he's being the courageous, brave person he has to be when he's fighting. And I like all of his voice actors. I think there wasn't really a game that stood out to me where it was like, oh, that doesn't really sound like a Sun Jian would sound like that. He sounded pretty good in every single game. He was voiced pretty well, and I can't complain too much about his voice acting from the earliest game to the newest one now. And even though, just like in our previous video with Xiahou Yuan, he was voiced by the legendary Steve Bloom in Dynasty Warriors 4 and 5.
You wait. The tiger of Jiangdong shall rip out your liver with its claws.
Every game, I think, again, fits him just perfectly. Dynasty Warriors 6 and 7 and 8. I believe it was all the same person. Sounds very good for him.
Foolishness. That's merely an old wives' tale.
But regardless of which game, I think the voice acting for Sun Jian was good. It was probably one of the better characters when it came to voice acting. Can't complain really at all about his voice acting. It fits him perfectly as a character. Alright, now let's talk about his significant battles, his relationships, and his death. First off, let's start off with his significant battles. He obviously plays big roles in the Battle of Hulao Gate and the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Nothing too crazy where it stands out in terms of like he did something significant, but he was there, he was participating, and he did what he had to do in order to assist the Allied forces in repelling, Dong Zhuo and Zhang Jiao during those 2 rebellions. But the most significant battle, I would say, and even though they credit this kill to Guan Yu within the game, the Battle of Sishui Gate, which was like the prerequisite battle to Hulao Gate, Sun Jian's forces, I don't know if it was Sun Jian himself, but Sun Jian's forces is credited for killing the general Hua Xiong in battle, and I'm pretty sure most games has Guan Yu killing him instead. There was a couple of cutscenes where Guan Yu comes in and kills Hua Xiong, not Sun Jian's forces.
Enemy General Hua Xiong has fallen before me.
It is stated that Sun Jian's forces is credited for defeating Hua Xiong in battle. So now moving on to his relationships within the game. The most important relationships I think he had is, of course, with his family. So Sun Ce, Sun Quan, and Sun Shangzhang. And Zhou Yu, I would say, is also within that. I don't think he considered him or ever would say that Zhou Yu is his like son or anything. But because Zhou Yu was around the same age as all of his children, and he was pretty much a part of them. Like he was, he was close to Sun Ce, and when Sun Ce passed away, he was close to Sun Quan. He was always around. He was always there. I think he had a close relationship with Zhou Yu, and trusting him to protect Sun Ce in some instances of the game, protecting him to, just look out for his family. Maybe not a super close relationship, but because of Zhou Yu's relationship with, his family, and of course Zhou Yu's admiration to Sun Jian and willing to follow him and, help create the vision and the kingdom that Sun Jian wanted. They also had, I would say, an inherent relationship with each other. And then I would say he also has a very close relationship with Cheng Pu, Han Dong, and Huang Gai. The three veterans of Wu, the three veterans of, Sun Jian's forces, the three veterans that came in with him and that were part of his, faction from the beginning. A lot of cutscenes with them in Dynasty Warriors 9. When Cheng Pu became a playable character, and before that it was, Han Dong, and before Han Dong, it was Huang Gai, and those three have a very close relationship with Sun Jian. It's very evident in Dynasty Warriors 9. It's very cool seeing that. And that's why I was mentioning about his personality and the way he interacts with those three, and of course, everyone else within the kingdom. It's cool seeing that bond, that friendship that they had all the way up until Sun Jian's death. But among those three, I would say he's probably the closest with Huang Gai, just because he's been a playable character for so long. There are some instances where he gets close with Cheng Pu and they have their own conversations. He was telling Cheng Pu what he was envisioning and what he wanted to do, and if it came down to the point where he would set out on his own and try to build something for himself and for the people that follow him, would Cheng Pu be there and be loyal and stuff like that. And Cheng Pu was like, until the day I die, if I need to give my life, I'm there for you. And Huang Gai, Han Dong came in later and said the exact same thing. So that undying loyalty that they had for him just showed you how much they valued him as a friend and as a leader. And it's just really cool seeing that. I enjoy seeing that. And that's why I was mentioning his personality before. It's just cool seeing that. I love seeing that camaraderie within the series. And Sun Jian definitely has it with those three characters. And the last relationship I want to talk about is a relationship with Yuan Shu. And the only reason I want to talk about this is because it's always pointed out within most of the games that during the Battle of Hulao Gate, Yuan Shu, Sun Jian was a subordinate of Yuan Shu going into that battle, and then after that battle, he was still, underneath Yuan Shu. But mainly I want to talk about it is because most of the games talk about him not receiving supplies from Yuan Shu during the Battle of Hulao Gate. And through most of the games, either Yuan Shu is either like not moving, or before the battle, he'll be like, hey, I control your resources, so you better not disappoint me or something, or you better do what I say or something.
Listen closely. I will be controlling your provisions in this battle. You're always boasting about being the tiger of Jiangdong, yes? Then you'd better work hard enough to make sure I don't regret the cost of feeding you.
It was during that time that someone told Yuan Shu that if Sun Jian defeated Dong Zhuo and took over Luoyang, he wouldn't want to serve anyone. So Yuan Shu stopped providing food supplies to his army, so that way Sun Jian wouldn't get all the credit. In some of the games he says that too. He's like, oh, if I send him food supplies now, then I don't get no credit. Sun Jian gets all the credit, But they had a relationship because he was a subordinate of them. In most of the games, he's withholding supplies during the Battle of Hulao Gate. And of course, the incident with his wife, which definitely probably put a strain on their relationship. Basically, what happened is Yuan Shu found out Sun Jian had the Imperial Seal, and he held his wife hostage, and he offered his wife in exchange for the Imperial Seal. And I'm pretty confident if, Sun Jian had survived the battle with Liu Biao, he would have eventually somehow killed Yuan Shu, whether it was in battle after leaving him or assassinating him, he would have eventually got around to removing Yuan Shu. And now let's finish up with Sun Jian's death. I already hinted it with the intro and talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the video, but Sun Jian, again, is ambushed by Huang Zu's units while he was in battle against Liu Biao. Sun Jian was underneath Yuan Shu at the time, and like I mentioned before, he had the Imperial Seal and gave it to Yuan Shu in exchange for, Yuan Shu holding his wife hostage. And he was ordered to attack Liu Biao. He was doing well, but Liu Biao's forces, Huang Zu's forces, they had Sun Jian pursue him a little bit too far away. He got caught up by himself and was surrounded by archers. Unfortunately, ended up being killed. In the earlier instances of the game in Dynasty Warriors 3, instead of being shot to death, Sun Jian is lured again, but instead he was crushed to death by boulders. But that's all I have for Sun Jian here. We've gone over how he's changed over the past 20 years. And it's like I said, I think he's relatively stayed the same in terms of looks and weapon style and how he fights and personality-wise. And like I said, I genuinely like the character. I like playing through his story. And I'm looking forward to see what he looks like and what he does in the newest game. But that's all I have for him here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are a Sun Jian fan, or if you guys use him, let me know down in the comment section. If I miss anything about him, let me know down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, definitely appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe. And we'll be back here for number 45 here real soon. Number 45, half of the list almost done. And we're getting very close to the top of the list where the more popular characters are. But hope you guys are enjoying the series, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.